Morning, Year 6. Welcome to today's English lesson. We'll be looking at punctuating direct speech. Again, another SPAD revision session. So let's have a little look at direct versus reported speech. Okay, so direct versus reported speech. There are two types, direct and reported. And if you remember, direct speech quotes the exact words which have been spoken, whereas indirect speech or reported speech is more of a summary as what has been said, and it doesn't have to use the exact same words. Direct speech is usually in the present tense, whereas reported or indirect speech is in the past. And inverted commas or speech marks are placed around what the speaker says in direct speech, whereas indirect speech does not use speech marks. Okay then, so decide whether these ones are direct or reported. Dad told me he was tired. Reported, of course. Joshua explained that he supported Chelsea. Reported. I wish I could come too, replied Jess. Again, notice the speech marks there, so therefore it is direct speech. Ella pondered thoughtfully. I think blueberries are probably my favourite fruit. Is it being exactly said? Of course it is. It's direct speech. Mr. Turner described the terrifying sight of a wooden ship with black sails attacking the harbour. Any speech marks in the inverted commas? Nope. Therefore, it is reported speech. Okay. So, it's very easy to convert between direct and reported speech. For example, direct speech here. If I had to pick just one, I'd say blue is my favourite colour, said Noah. Okay. Noah told me his favourite colour was blue. As simple as that. And again, Jess asked if I was busy that night. To put that into direct speech. Are you busy tonight? Inside the inverted commas, the punctuation inside, okay, is all there. Asked Jess. So, inverted commas, or speech marks, okay? Now, they are also known as speech marks, and they are used to show when someone is speaking. And again, it sort of looks and sounds complicated, but it's really not. Just follow the simple rules, and you will be an expert at punctuating speech. So, number one, place the inverted commas around the words that are spoken. Use a capital letter at the start of a speech sentence, even if it is in the middle of another sentence. And we'll come on to that in a second. And before you close your inverted commas, you need to use a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation mark to separate what was said from the speaker. And this is a key one because a lot of us are forgetting this at the moment. If a new person speaks, we must start a new line. So, for example, here are my 2 minions. Should we tell the humans we can speak English? Said Stuart, or asked Stuart. Kevin replied, no, definitely not. Notice, no is the N in no is capitalized here. Okay, because it's the start of a speech sentence. So even though it's not the start of your sentence, okay, it's the start of the speech sentence, so it's capitalized. Okay, and then on this side here, you can see that it's a question. So before I close my speech, I've got my question mark. Okay, I'll race you there, said Isla. You'll win then, murmured Emery. You're much faster than I am. Again, your doesn't need a capital letter here. Okay, because it's not the start of a speech sentence. You'll win then, you're much faster than I am. So it's not the start of a speech sentence, so I do not need the capital letter here. Okay, if this was the end of the speech sentence and this was a second sentence that they were saying, then I would do. Okay, and again, despite coming after an exclamation mark here, okay, said is not capitalized because it's not the start of a sentence. So, okay. So, have a little think about these ones. What time are we going out? Asked Zoe. It's missing some things. What do you need to add? Of course, you need to add the inverted commas and the question mark. Okay, it's a question. Yasmin shouted, look out! Think carefully. You may need 4 pieces of punctuation here. And there it is. I need my comma before, okay, because this clause is first. And I've got my speech marks, my exclamation mark, and a capital letter, because it's the start of a speech sentence. Besides, said Sam thoughtfully, what was she doing there anyway? What would I need here? Of course, I'm going to need my speech marks, okay? And because the clause comes in the middle, I need a comma, okay, to show it's carrying on. I need a comma after my clause before I restart my speech. And it is not the start of a speech sentence, so it is not a capital letter. Besides, what was she doing there anyway? Question mark. And again, this was by Sam, who was thinking it. Okay, so said thoughtfully. Okay. So remember, put inverted commas around what the speaker says, start each speech sentence with a capital letter, and place a piece of punctuation before you close your inverted commas. And of course, new speaker, new line. Okay then. There's lots of speech here. Now, I'm not going to get you to write this out, okay? But look at that. Did you eat the last donut? Hannah asked her little brother. No, I had carrot sticks for my snack, replied Zach innocently. Then where, questioned Anna, did all the sugar around your mouth come from? Smiling mischievously. Again, it's all condensed, it's all there. And whilst the work is actually good, the words that they've used are really good, it looks really messy and it doesn't follow any of the rules of the speech. So it should look more like this. Every new speaker has a new line. I've got my inverted commas to show exactly what they're saying. I've got my clause, okay, my reporting clause, to say who is saying it, okay? And this looks much, much better. It's much clearer and easier to follow, okay? So remember, new speaker, new line. So let's look at the reporting clause. Now, direct speech will almost always need a reporting clause, and that's because it tells the reader who the speaker was and how they are speaking. For example here, I came first, shouted Frank excitedly. And there is our reporting clause. It tells us how they are saying it and who is saying it, okay? So he shouted it excitedly, okay? Again, there it is. Now, a reporting clause can come before, after, or split direct speech. For example, if it comes before, Dan asked hungrily, comma, do you know what time lunch is? Okay, with my rules of speech. If it's after it, okay, which is the most common one, do you know what time lunch is? Dan asked hungrily, okay? And if it's embedded, we need to split the speech up with our speech marks and put it in the middle, okay, with a comma before speech resumes. And if it is not the start of a new speech sentence, it is not a capital letter here, okay? Now, again, if you keep changing where the location of that reporting clause is, it keeps your writing interesting, rather than just always before, or just after, okay? Mix them up. It makes that writing much more interesting to follow and to read, okay? And final point, remember how many different synonyms for said there are. There are so many here. Look at all of these different amazing words for said. Interrogate it instead of questioned, okay? Addressed, so address the audience rather than told everyone. Giggled through tears of laughter, okay? All different ways of saying said, okay? So there's loads there. Make sure you are using them. So that's a brief recap on direct speech. Your work is about that today, so complete your work. Your work needs to be sent to me today before 3 p.m. today, please, okay? Before 3 p.m. So get it done this morning and get it done and sent as soon as you can. Thank you very much, Year 6. Have a wonderful session, and I will speak to you very, very shortly.